You know, when I first found all this old junk in my attic, my first thought was to throw it all out. But then I realized that this old trunk is really a treasure chest. It's full of clues about my family's past, my family's history, and my history. Look at this. I remember playing with this when I was a little boy. How about this? Do you know what sort of a cap this is? Well, this is a railwayman's cap. Now, my great-grandfather was a railwayman. If you look there, you can see Great Western Railway. And that was the name of the railway that he worked for. You know what? I think that in the family photograph album, which we came across up here, there is a picture of great-grandfather somewhere towards the end. Yes, here he is. Now, great-grandfather was a railwayman in the days when trains were pulled by steam engines. And not very far from here, I know a place where there are a lot of old steam engines. Let's go and take a look at them, shall we? These old steam engines were brought here and just left to rust when diesel engines took over on the railways. I must admit that they look a pretty sad sight, but I promise you that in their day they were magnificent, always surrounded by great clouds of steam, their paintwork polished and the metalwork would be gleaming. Well, now some of these engines have been bought up and taken away by steam enthusiasts, and they've been polished and they've been painted and they've been put back to work. So my suggestion is that we go and take a ride on one of these steam trains.
Why? Come back with my Sunday cap, you rascal!
Now then, this is where we'll find out about steam. All aboard the Severn Valley Railway. We're travelling on a very special railway. It runs for about 16 miles along the valley of the River Severn, and that's not very far from the border between Wales and England. And these days it's run by a group of people who love steam. They give up their spare time to work on the railway as volunteers, and that way they get a whiff of the past. And they're people for whom the age of steam is still very much alive.
Thank you. Tickets, please. Your tickets, please.
Hello, guard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tickets, please. Let's have your tickets now.
That's funny. I'm sure I've seen him somewhere before.
Your tickets, please. Ladies and gentlemen, your tickets. Is the excitement of the steam engine still alive? You bet it is. Even on a short journey like this, you can still feel the magic. But just try and imagine what it was like when I was a young lad. The railways were the most exciting thing in the whole world. Suddenly we could travel. We could visit places we never dreamed of seeing. Oh yes, the adventure of the railway was the life for me. I decided to work on the railway. But you'll have to excuse me. I'm very busy today. Excuse me. Tickets, please. Your tickets.
Chocolate and cream. The colours of one of the most famous railways of all, the Great Western. Once upon a time, the Great Western stretched from London to the farthest parts of Western Britain. And this little line was a tiny part of it.
But what exactly was the Great Western Railway? Well, about 150 years ago, a group of businessmen got together to build a railway between London and Bristol. Now, at that time, Bristol was the second biggest city in the land, and it was a very busy port as well. And these businessmen knew that a railway line linking the two cities, carrying goods and people, would be sure to make a great deal of money. They planned that their railway would be the finest in the land. Not just the Western Railway, but the Great Western Railway.
Even the signal box is chocolate and cream. At the station, the fireman has to hand on a token. It's for safety. You see, you can't go on to the next bit of single-line track unless you've been given the token. Safety tokens were used on railways all over England and Wales, but only one of them dared to call itself great.
Well, of course, they called it the Great Western Railway, and it was great in all ways. And this was because of one man. I've got a picture of him here somewhere. Let me show you. Here we are. Isambard Kingdom Brunel. What a name, eh? Well, a funny name or not, he was the best engineer of his day. And he was hired to design the new railway. And he decided from the beginning, this would be the best railway in the land. Well, that's enough chit-chat. Got to get the train moving. Brunel had the brains to design the new line, but it takes muscles as well as brains to build a railway. The workmen who did the really hard work were the railway navvies. The navvies were amazing workers. Nothing stopped them. If rivers ran across their path, they built bridges. If hills got in their way, they tunneled through. Slowly, the navvies shoveled their way across the countryside, and after them, to everyone's amazement and excitement, came the trains.
It was only 3 years before the Great Western Railway stretched all the way from London to Bristol, and you could travel between the two cities in only 2.5 hours in trains that reached 60 miles an hour. That was only the beginning of the story. Before long, Great Western lines reached down to Penzance, Birmingham, Shrewsbury, Chester, in fact, all over the West. And in terms of reliability and speed and comfort, the railway was exactly as good as Brunel had hoped. So good that the GWR soon became known as God's Wonderful Railway.
It's all very well him talking about the Great Western to Bristol, but the Railway West had a long way to go yet. Do you realise that the Great Western Railway also ran across Wales? We've got a few minutes before we get into the next station, so let me tell you about it. The railway was built across Wales, not to help the people of Wales to get about, but it had something to do with Ireland. You see, then Ireland was ruled as a part of Britain, but it took ages and ages to get there. I've got a map somewhere, let me show you. Here we are. You had to travel by coach all the way across England and Wales to West Wales before sailing to Ireland. But the Great Western already ran across England. Why not carry it on across Wales, so he could make the whole journey by train? That's what Brunel decided to do. He built a railway which linked the main towns of South Wales. The railway ran all the way to West Wales, where you could get off the train and onto a boat bound for Ireland. And so the South Wales Railway was born. One of the convenient things about being a ghost is you can get from station to station way ahead of the train. This station hasn't changed much since the days of the Great Western Railway. And it was on a little station like this that I got my very first job. I was a porter. We used to lug these churns around all day long. And believe me, they weighed a ton when they were full of milk. You see, once they completed the South Wales Coast Railway line, the farmers of Carmarthenshire realised that they could put milk on the train in the afternoon and it would be sold around the streets of London the very next morning. As fresh and as fast as the people of Carmarthen got it even. Some of the farmers used to travel to London with the milk. Some eventually decided to stay and live there. And very soon, all the corner shops used to sell fresh Welsh milk and other farm produce. Well, here she comes, the milk special, bang on time. I didn't stay as a porter for a long time. I had a burning ambition to be an engine driver. I knew it would take a very long time, and I would have to start as an engine cleaner. After years of polishing and scrubbing and shining these engines, my dream came true. I was made a fireman. Well, all aboard then.
Working on the footplate of a steam engine is one of the most exciting jobs in the world. The driver needs a lot of skill. He has to use the steam so that the train pulls steadily at Severn. The fireman works with the driver. He's in charge of making the steam which drives the engine. He has to keep a very careful watch on the steam gauge. Over the river, we're nearly there. On this journey, the engine will have consumed a ton of coal. And it's hungry work for the driver and the fireman too. So we've reached the end of our journey on this little bit of the Great Western Railway. And what a wonderful journey it's been. I only wish that my great-grandfather could have been here to share it.
Well, journey's end, this is it, the end of the line, and for me, it's back to modern transport now, though I can't pretend it will have the same magic as travelling by steam. You know, my journey via the Severn Valley Railway has been a trip into the past that I'll want to make again and again.
Please visit our website for news about new productions that are on the way, and you can support my work on my Patreon page. Thank you.